now meeting together. First item of business is approved minutes of the past personnel meetings. Somebody want to make a motion? Supervisor McDevitt, second by Supervisor Frazier. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Does anybody wish to address the committee now on any topic? No? Okay, then we'll move right into SUNY Adirondack. Dr.
Good
Duffy?
morning, everyone. Happy New Year. I won't take up too much of your time, but I just want to bring you up to see on where we're at. The good news is that our Workforce Readiness Center, which we've been calling it, is now open. We had our first all-college meeting in the new conference center last Friday. The conference center holds about 280 people when it's completely open, and it can also be divided up into 4 sections. It's going to be an asset for the college, but also an opportunity for the community to use it for events, conferences, etc. So we're really excited about that. The building also holds our continuing ed department and our new entrepreneur center. So that's now up and running. There's still some punch list items that we have to complete, but it was on schedule and on budget, which is where we wanted it to be. And then our other project that has been going on is our renovation of Warren Hall, which holds all of our student service offices. Almost all of the offices have now moved back into that space. I really invite you to come and visit. If you haven't been on campus in a while, or if you're familiar with Warren Hall, I can tell you it's like a whole different experience. Much better space for our student service folks, the new Student Success Center, which is really where the hub of our advising occurs, and that's all open and ready for business. So all of our construction projects that have been moving along are moving along the way they should. The old science building is still under renovation. That's expected to be done at the end of the semester. Then we'll move our nursing program into the new space. The new science edition that many of you have seen is doing well. And our saltwater aquarium is now available. It's called the Reef, and it holds, I can't even remember how many different types of fish, but I invite you to come in. It's very zen. So if you're having a stressful day, just come on campus and go over to the Reef, and it will calm you down. But we've got some great opportunities to partner with various vendors across the country who are excited about helping us to fill our aquarium. So that's up and running. The relocation of the Culinary Arts building is moving along. It's taking us a little longer than we had hoped. Part of it is just actually ordering some of the equipment. It's just not available, and so that's stalling things a little bit. But we still expect to be in the space sometime this spring semester, so things are moving along there. State budget, which we're in full-on state budget advocacy season for us. As you may have read, the governor actually implemented a cut to funding to community colleges across the state, which of course we're disappointed. But we continue to move forward on recommending a new funding formula for community colleges. We have great support from the SUNY system, from the new chancellor. She participated in her first budget hearing last week to present the community college funding formula redesign, which was pretty well received from the committee. She met with the higher ed committee this week, same thing. There seems to be at least an understanding of the value of moving away from an enrollment-driven funding formula to one that's more stable, particularly because we're so susceptible to when the economy is doing well. Enrollment tends to decline a bit because people are back to work and maybe not looking for as much retraining. And then, of course, the opposite happens if we have a decline in our economy. We want to try to stabilize our funding. The other piece that is important to understand is when we say enrollment-driven funding, and I know some of you are new on the board, we're funded on an FTE level. An FTE for us means it's one person taking on average the amount of 30 credits over the course of a year. 40% of our students are part-time students, so really one FTE is not indicative of the number of students we actually serve, which require services, which require facilities, which require technology. And when I looked back and really thought about what we've been funded, just to give you an example, 2 years ago, we were funded on that FTE level for 2,700 FTEs, but over the course of a year, we serve about 9,000 people between our credit programs and our continuing ed programs. So when you think about that, in terms of the discrepancy of funding, it really becomes problematic for us and as we continue to be underfunded. So we will once again be asking for your help in terms of our advocacy strategy. We're working on a letter that we would love to have your endorsement, and potentially if the board would consider doing some type of resolution in support of our efforts to rework the funding formula with community colleges. We love your support. I'm happy to share it with Chair Garrity, and I'll discuss it. I'll get that to you within the next couple of weeks. We're just finalizing some of the numbers and make sure we're all consistent in terms of our messaging. So we would love your support on that.
Okay, we'd be happy to. Any questions for Dr. Duffy? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to comment on your veteran services. They are top-notch. That program, the building, the room you have, the liaisons that you have to help the veterans cope, and also work with the educational system, and they also work heavily with Warren County and New York State, or the VA down in Albany, to get the veteran services. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Doctor. Thanks. At this time, I'd like to introduce the new members of the committee. Mayor Diamond, Glens Falls, Mr. Lowe from Glens Falls, Mr. Molino from Luzerne, and Mr. Sokol from Queensbury. And myself, I'm taking over as Chairman of Personnel and Finance. So welcome all you new members and the old holdovers. We look for good things. We have a lot on our agenda. We have some key positions to fill. Next up, we'll have the HR. Jackie, you want to talk about the tracking of vacancies?
Just if anybody has questions, the one that's included with your packet, the whole of 2017.
Okay. I would.
Month it'll be much smaller.
Okay. Next up will be Yeager and Flynn. Jackie, you want to introduce Matt? And
Introduce yourself.
Okay.
Everybody knows.
Good morning.
Morning.
So yeah, my name is Matt Schuett. This is Kurt Jaeger over there. We dressed very similar today. We're with Jaeger and Flynn, and what's being passed out now, and I promise to be brief. Those of you who were in the committee last year know that some of our meetings we had probably 8 to 10 last year, and some of them went quite long. So I was asked to be brief at this one, and we will. This is just a quick update, quick State of the Union. We represent the county's employee benefit plan, so health, dental, and vision. And what's coming around on your agenda is, number one, just the benefits. And we'll do more on this, obviously, as we go into, as we're going through 18. If anybody wants additional depth of how we got here, I'm certainly happy to do it. We spent a lot of 2017 reviewing the benefits, the pros and cons, fully vetting a move from a fully insured health plan to a self-insured health plan. So we probably had 8 to 10 meetings or so that we were part of last year, and the decision was made to go to a self-insured program as of December 1st of last year. So we're roughly, 60 days pretty much exactly into that plan right now. As part of that, one of the big reasons, and you'll see it in there, the Affordable Care Act, so we did a few things, and that move avoided some cost. And one thing it avoided right off the rip was there was a health insurance tax that was part of the Affordable Care Act that hit the insurance companies, which funneled directly right down to your rates, your monthly rates. That tax that was avoided was about $223,000. So that was just as part of the move, again, from fully insured to self-insured. That was an avoidance tax. Also, Blue Shield had a renewal increase had we not made any changes out of the gate prior to negotiation. Out of the gate, it was about a 19% rate increase. This last December, we were able to, with some of those changes, keep the employees' cost with no change. Okay, so that's, again, in the cost and tax avoidance phase. We also did, as part of this move, we added reinsurance on your prescription plan. Prior to, your prescription plan did not have any reinsurance, and if any of you were following the high cost of specialty prescriptions, that put the county at a lot of risk. So we have pulled that in, and we have reinsurance or stop loss sitting over that now. Again, I can go into much more detail if anybody wants to separately. Key part with this, there was no employee disruption. Employees didn't have to change doctors, and their prescriptions didn't change. No employee disruption was a big key. On B in there, we went through a HRA. This was in 16. We installed, for the first time at the county, we gave the employees a choice of 2 different health plans. One choice was to go with a high deductible health plan. If employees wanted to save a couple dollars in their weekly premiums, they can do so. Last year we had 24 members that did that. I'm talking 16 now, 16 to 17, who went into a high deductible health plan and saved some money on their end. The county, because it was a high deductible health plan, offered to reimburse their claims. So I want to just give a quick update on that. For the 16-17 year, we had 24 members go in. If we had reimbursed all of their deductibles, it would have been $27,000. That was our liability. We ended up only reimbursing just under $12,000. So that's a success story. The county reimbursed less than they would have had to, and that's what we had predicted. And in 17, practically doubled our membership. There's right now, it went from 24 to 43, 43 members in that high deductible health plan now. So that's so far been a good thing, and it's proving out at this point in time to be right on track, right where we expect it. The next thing I'll cruise through a little, but I just want to make the point. We put into play last year in October an electronic enrollment system. So all of your employees now, we went through it in October. HR did outstanding work with us and helping getting everybody through Employee Navigator, which is an electronic enrollment system. Short version of this is your employees now can check their benefits online. They enrolled online. They can view it via their smartphone. We eliminated, couldn't even guess, thousands of pieces of paper from last year's open enrollment process. And now your employees went through it, heard a lot of good things. Next year, going into it, it's going to be easier, and every year it gets easier and easier. Again, kind of a soft dollar savings, but wonderful success and very efficient processing on that side. And in that, we also added, it was an initiative last year to add, to kind of increase the menu a little bit of things that employees can choose from. So we added a voluntary vision plan as of December 1st. And again, when you have an electronic enrollment system, things like adding benefits, giving people choice, it's super easy. It's a click of a button versus, again, chasing people all over and processing paper. So we had 365 enrollees in that plan. It was very successful, and future implementation of any other things ever come up down the road, it's also easy to do that and enhance your menu. So, sorry, that was rapid pace.
Well, that's fine. Any questions for Matt? Sure, Peter.
I just have one question. Going to page 2, Matt, on pending items, the county could offer to encourage retirees to change their health plan from Empire Blue Cross to CDPHP. Have you identified one reason why anyone would want to do that? To go from Empire to CDPHP?
As it stands right now, for the retirees that have that are, let's call them 100%ers, there is no incentive.
Okay.
Okay, so that's part of our plan in 2018 to on one of our meetings to start to identify ways to incent that a touch.
And just assuming money is not an issue, does the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan offer advantages to CDPHP?
For those that are snowbirds, let's call them, or out of the area, yes. There are differences between the plans. Out of area benefits more.
Okay.
Any other questions for Matt? I have one question. One of the things we talked about at NISAC was the sharing services of insurance plans. They have to make some changes because towns are community rated, and then we're experience rated now, right?
Yeah.
So it is a difference. I think you'll see some of that if you could keep watching. I think they're going to change the insurance rules where we may be able to piggyback on the county's insurance policies in the future. I know it was talked about. We talked about it probably 5 or 6 years ago, but the insurance rules wouldn't allow us to do it, and now I think they're raising it up. So you should kind of keep.
Just to speak to that, so you were experience rated, and so this would be something that we'd have to look into. You're self-funded now,
Yeah.
so that could have a dramatic effect on the self-funding aspect.
Okay.
So we'd really have to break that down and do due diligence and make sure if that was something that was going to go in that direction, that we fully understand what that would mean to the plan. because it's not an insured product anymore.
Okay. But I just know that some counties, they talked about it down there, and it gets complicated when it gets into insurance, so
Yeah.
if you can keep your eye on it and see if anybody's moving that way.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Any other questions on insurance? All right, we'll move on to the next item.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item of business is 2C, request to fill a vacant position of principal personnel clerk. Any discussion on this? Would anybody like to move this? Motion by Supervisor Loeb, second by Supervisor Melino. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Carried. Next. Request to amend Resolution 449 of 2017 to include the end date position for temporary part-time airport manager of June 20th, 2018. Somebody want to move this?
I'll move it.
Motion by Supervisor Diamond, second by Supervisor Lowe. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Thank you. I guess, is this for Mr. Dewberry, and is he still working his other full-time job?
Correct.
And what would be the end date?
It's June 30th.
June 30th.
It's listed down there.
Thank you.
It was discussed in committee, and this is what they agreed to.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, 4A, request for Leah Howe, registered nurse, to enroll in job-related courses at Liberty University for March 26 to May 18, 2018. Cost is $1,390, and she would obviously fall under the county policy. Motion by Supervisor Brammer, second by Supervisor Loeb. Discussion. No discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 4B, request to amend the table organization salary schedule to delete position of long-term coordinator and fill new position of supervising public health nurse. Annual salary is $69,272.
B and C, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Motion to move B and C by Supervisor Sokol. Do we have a second? Supervisor Frazier, second. Any discussion on B and C? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, Office of the Aging. D, request to amend table of organization and salary schedule to reflect the following changes at the Cedars meal site. To delete food service helper number 3, base salary $23,987. To delete food service manager, base salary $26,392. To delete food service helper number 2, base salary $25,512. Delete meal site cook number 3, base salary $21,510. To reduce the hours of meal site manager 2 to 10 hours per week. To reduce the hours of meal site cook number 4 to 10 hours per week. And to reduce the hours of food service helper number 6 to 15 hours a week. Yes.
I'd like to move it to get it to the floor, please.
Motion by Supervisor Loeb to get the 4D on the floor. Do we have a second? Second by Supervisor Frazier. Discussion. Ready? Go ahead.
Thanks. Dee, I want to thank you very much for going to the meeting the other night, or on Monday afternoon. A bunch of us were at NISAC and not able to attend, so I'm sure that was a difficult meeting to facilitate, and I appreciate that you went and addressed and talked to the residents, and were there, present and accessible. That was really important. And thank you for answering my emails as well. I know that you were asked to reduce the budget, find some ways to do that, and I did vote for this in committee at the time, and since then I've heard a lot of concerns. A lot of people have come to me, and they're upset about the changes, obviously, and I don't get a lot of calls. I'm not a town supervisor, so when I get calls, it's something that I really take note of, and I think that I would not be doing my job if I would not respond to those people. One of the concerns that I heard was that volunteers are, they're upset, and I know you acknowledge it's hard to get volunteers, and it's my understanding that in Washington County they have to pay for the deliveries. There's no volunteers. So part of my concern is that if we alienate our volunteers and they stop serving for us, we're going to have an expense of paying for the drivers. So we're going to kind of wipe out any savings that we have in the short term until we can figure it out. And, you know, 100 people at a meeting is a lot, so I think it's something that I do need to respond to. I understand also that you've had resistance from the staff for other ways of saving, and I think they need to respond. They need to hear us, supervisors, saying to you that you need to find ways to save money, and they need to respond. Because we do need to save money, but we need to do it in a responsible way that protects our employees as well, and responds to the concerns of our residents and our volunteers. So I guess I'm looking for...
Do you need an answer from Dee?
No, I don't need an answer from Dee. She answered a lot of my questions. I'm looking for a compromised position here, that we do not move forward with this today, that we give Dee a chance to go back to the staff and tell them how important it is that we work on this before we take this step.
That's fair. Supervisor Loeb?
I believe we do have some comments that Dee and Jackie want to make in this regard. Is that true? At some point, we should allow them that
Okay.
opportunity.
Supervisor McDevitt?
I did attend the meeting. I did not attend the meeting in Albany. So anytime you can get 100-plus people at a meeting, I think it is very impressive. I listened. I think I learned something. I was giving a tour of the facilities. I was impressed. From refrigeration to the ability to prepare meals in a very clean, I thought, well-organized arena. Anytime you get a group of volunteers in a program as admirable as this one, I believe we run the risk of losing volunteers and disincentivizing people to be involved in a program like this. So I do not support this. I will vote against it. I don't know if money is the ultimate goal in this kind of an enterprise when we're looking at something as valuable and as important as meals for our seniors, and in my opinion, running the risk of compromising the program. So we're not the richest county in the state of New York. We're not the poorest county in the state of New York. We're a county that I think is well positioned and can well afford the $74,000 necessary to continue this program.
Anybody else wish to comment? Supervisor Merlino?
I'd like to make a comment, but I'd like to listen to Dee first.
Okay. Dee, would you like to address us, or do you? Okay. Yes. Before we vote?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Supervisor Beatty.
Nobody more than me that wants to save money. Fastest growing part of our county is senior citizens. Fastest decrease in our county is young people moving out of here. So, you know, I sat down with Supervisor Bramer, McDevitt, other supervisors, and tried to figure out where we are in this. Saving $75,000, to me, you know, people will say, hey, Beatty was before that. We're saving 75 grand. They'll jump on board with that. Well, Beatty's not jumping on board with this one. And the reason is, I think continuity in our senior citizens, with the delivery, with the quality of food, and so forth. But I'm not saying there's going to be less quality food over in Washington County. But I think sometimes money can't be the almighty driving factor. And when we have a population that is significantly growing in this county, to send a message that, hey, we're looking to kind of cut back on you guys, to find other avenues to not keep people in place, I think that sends a wrong message, personally. And I think part of our responsibility as supervisors is to take care of our seniors, our elderly, who should be the most respected people in this county. And so I'm going to be against, if this ever gets to finance, I will vote against it. Based on that, I do not want to lose volunteers. I know that's a deep concern. And Supervisor Bramer makes a very valid point that we could be saving 75 here and then spending to pay people to deliver the meals because we've lost our key volunteers. So that doesn't make sense. So what do we gain? So, I just want to go on record if this ever got to finance, that I would be voting against.
Supervisor McGowan.
Yes, knowing about 17% of our budget is the only part that we really can cut, as everything else is mandatory. You know, $74,000 is a lot of money. Taking care of our elderly is really high importance, and I do agree with all of you. But I had the opportunity to speak earlier with representatives from Cedars here, because I wasn't able to attend the meeting. And, you know, looking into, all right, we have a proposal on the table to save $74,000. Let's see if we can do it another way, keeping it in-house and making some changes within the Cedars and with the staffing and that, and see if we can't come up with that same form of savings.
Okay, I have a request for an executive session to talk about the performance of particular individuals. Do we have a motion to go into executive session? Somebody want to make that? Supervisor Sokol? Do I have a second to go into executive session? Supervisor Frazier. Committee to vote. Show of hands. All in favor going into executive session. Opposed? All right, we'll go into a short executive session to talk about the job performance of certain employees of the county. Thank you.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Okay, we're back into a regular session. We had a motion on the floor to amend the table organization. It would be 4D. We have a motion, we have a second. Where's some of my committee members?
Just to wait a moment. I think it'd be appropriate.
Okay. Is everybody back in?
No, Frank is
Well, we need to move it along because we have a big agenda, so yeah, we don't have to wait. We had a motion and a second on item 4D. What's the pleasure of the committee? Supervisor Leggett.
What's the question?
The
4D is reducing the
I know that.
the hours.
You're asking for a vote?
I'm asking for a vote. All those in favor of reducing hours of the positions at the Cedars meal site? Show of hands. Opposed? Mr. McDevitt and Mr. Diamond. Carried. Okay, 4E. Request to amend the table organization salary schedule to reflect the actual hours of meal site employees as follows. Reduce the hours of meal site cook 11, Wells meal site to 25 hours a week, and reduce the hours of meal site manager 10, Wells meal site to 20 hours per week. Got a motion to get on the floor by Supervisor Frazier. Do we have a second by Supervisor Loeb? Any discussion on 4E? Let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Opposed, Mr. McDevitt and Mr. Diamond. Thank you. Next, Social Services. Request to amend Resolution 511 of 2017 to change the deletion date for the Resource Assistant from Resource Assistant 2 from January 31st, 2018 to March 31st, 2018 to allow time to refill the Resource Coordinator position and train a new employee. Supervisor Old, a motion, second by Supervisor Frazier. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 5, referral from Support Services. Request to amend the salary schedule to identify an hourly rate of $23.50, not to exceed $8,000 for 2018 for the Weights and Measures Inspector. It's a per diem position, was discussed in committee and approved.
I'll move that.
Motion by Supervisor Lowe, second by Supervisor Sokol. Any discussion? This is a position to help Mr.
11.
Hurt. Yeah, I was going to say Leggett. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Did 5. Vacancies. These are all the vacancies that were approved by the oversight. Deputy Commissioner, Board of Elections, Health Services, Rational RN, WIC, Nutrition Facilitator, Mental Health Program Analyst, Office of the Aging Meal Site Manager number 5, Public Works, Highway Construction Supervisor, grade 10, Purchasing Assistant, grade 7, Senior Real Property Clerk, grade 8, Sheriff Communications Officer, 4, Social Services Commissioner of Social Services, Social Welfare Examiner, 32, Social Welfare Examiner, 23, Social Welfare Examiner, 22, Social Welfare Examiner, 25, and Caseworker, number 10, and then Weights and Measures, the one we just voted on. Are there any questions about any of these positions that were approved? No. Anything else to come in front of the committee? Supervisor?
Do we have to
Wells?
move this?
No, they're approved. That's for information.
Okay.
Anything else to come in front of the Personnel Committee? We had privilege of 4 at the beginning. Did you wish to address the committee?
Yes, I can, I'm sorry.
Can you please get up and speak to the podium? Thank you. State your name for the record, please.
I'm Frank O'Keefe, but I'm a volunteer driver for Meals on Wheels. I've been doing it for, I think, 23 years. I've been asked, I think I've been volunteered by this young 90-year-old teenager, to be the spokesman for the volunteers and the senior citizens. I just want to give you a highlight of exactly what I said at a meeting on the 29th. This is exactly what I said. This is a program that has been going on for over, I think, at least 40 years. The Board of Supervisors asked Ms. Park, Aging Director, to find ways for possible cuts in the department for reasons I'm sure, and I do not know why Ms. Park chose the meal site here at Cedars for possible savings. I don't believe there are any other cuts in the areas of her department that were considered. That is what I am aware. There may have been, I don't know. Ms. Parks were presented to the Human Services Committee on January 23rd. Her recommendation was based on an RFP, that's a request for proposals, that was sent to Washington County at a savings of $1 a meal. This could be realized savings of $74,000. These recommendations, with limited questions by the board, took them 8.5 minutes to do this, was approved. When they approved this affected 7 people. What I'd like to do is just review these 7 people. Trudy Lipensky, she's the kitchen manager. She's been here since 2014. She works 35 hours a week. She gets paid $14.11. She's a mother of 3, a grandmother of 4. She's a
Excuse me, Frank. Frank. Excuse me. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we know when the people at work, we know their resumes. So do you have something more pertinent for the committee?
Well, I think this is pertinent.
Well, the committee already knows the resumes of the employees. Do you have anything else that's pertinent to the discussion?
I am trying to tell
Okay,
you,
let's,
what I'm trying
couple
to
minutes,
relay
Frank.
to you is exactly what I said at a meeting, okay?
Yep.
Is that all right with the board?
Fine with me, yes, it's okay.
All right, let's
Public
move.
comment, he missed it earlier. I'd like to give him a chance to speak his piece in an open forum.
Thank you, Walter Mayor. Mayor Camaro, I guess.
All right, we have a 3-minute limit, Frank. Thank you.
Okay, she's a veteran, 3 years in the Army. Her son is in Afghanistan, on his 5th tour in Afghanistan. Keith Benson is a cook, and he's been here since 2016. He's 52 years old. Pam Yokin has been there since 2014. Connie Howe has been here 18 years. She's 50 years old. She's a grandmother. Debbie Hill has been here since 2014. She has a second job at Dunkin' Donuts. And so does Truthy Lipinski. She has a second job to survive at Stewart's. We have Maggie Ho. She's been here since 2005. And then lastly, we have Shirley Skinner. She's 82 years old. She's been here for 15 years. When these people are relieved from duty, they will be off at, I guess, unemployment, and I think most will go on food stamps. So I have a limited amount, but what I can understand is this budget of Warren County is $153 million, and we're zeroing in on 7 employees who desperately needed these jobs, and now they're going to be relieved and out the door in sometime in February. I think that I thought the county of Warren had more heart and was better than this to do what we have done to the employees, and I can't speak for all the volunteers, but I think you're going to lose a lot of them because of this, and you're going to lose me, which probably is no loss. Thank you very much. There's a couple of other things I wanted to say, but since the chairman has put me on a time limit, I can't fight that. Thank you very much. Is there any question for me?
I'd just like to state that we appreciate all the volunteers at every meal site, everybody who works for the county, and you know, there won't be 7 positions lost at this meal site, and the meal site won't close. But we do appreciate every meal site. We do appreciate the Office of the Aging and all the meals served throughout the county to every senior citizen. No senior citizen will lose their meal because of anything that we're doing.
Well,
Thank you, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For letting me
Anybody?
Speak for 3 minutes.
Motion. Please state your name. 3-minute limit.
I won't take long. I'm Diane Collins. I live in Warren County. I pay taxes in Warren County, and I'm a volunteer driver at the mill site. And I just needed to share with you my impressions. I've been doing this for about 7 months, and my impressions are it's incredibly efficient. It's like a team effort. The volunteers and the kitchen help, it flows, it works. And my concern, of course, is to break apart a system that works so well may have consequences that we don't like at all. I think none of us had a say in how our tax dollars were going to be spent. And I think there are other options to save money. I think the volunteers are a group of very committed and intelligent people that could come up with some possible other solutions to saving the $74,000. So I'm very disappointed that the committee has already voted to move forward with eliminating the kitchen positions. And I think we'll have some more opportunity to have a conversation with the whole board when it gets together. But my main point is that we've got a system that's efficient, there's teamwork, and it works really well. And to break that apart, I think we may regret this decision that you've made today.
Again, we thank you for your service and helping out, volunteering. Anybody else? Sure.
Virginia Winters, and I'm a resident at Cedars, and I'm the one that got this whole thing rolling. I don't want any credit for it, but I don't really think that you realize what you are doing. And it's not just us seniors. It's not, by the way, we had 150 people there on one day. It wasn't 100. And it's, you're just tearing the seniors apart. That's our only outlet of the day to go down and have our lunch, have people to visit with while we're talking, instead of sitting in our apartment looking at four walls while we're eating. Also, if I was the Warren County Supervisor, I think every resident of Warren County should fight this, because their tax money is going to Washington County now. And I really think there should be more thought and input into this whole program. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody wish to address anything else? Motion to adjourn? Or do we don't adjourn, right?
I have one other thing, Mr. Chairman.
We do adjourn?
Yeah.
We have a motion. Yes.
Can I put this in and make a record?
Sure.
For what I said?
Yep.
And
Thank you.
I'll leave this for,
A motion to adjourn.
I'll leave these copies I have for everybody.
Yeah, we'll get them out to everybody, Frank.
But if you care to, yeah.
A motion, do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Loeb, second by Ms. Frazier. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to finance.
Thank you.